What is your worst project experience with an RFI?
Probably the worst RFI's experience that I've had was roofing situation. Leaks are a major issue in construction design. We know that they're a huge warranty problem.
Mm-hmm.
RFIs were asked. This is when I was on the construction side. So I should probably clarify that. I was the one asking the RFI. We got clarification. This roofing issue, I think that RFI circled for almost 3 months before we resolve a solution that everybody could be happy with, like before we got it to that point. And I think it was the belabored process because it was contentious, because nobody wanted to really own a mistake. Nobody really wanted to own the fact that what was specified was probably a lesser product or a lesser quality product. And I've done the same thing on the architecture side where it's like, I think this will work. This product will work. It gets us in budget or whatever in our mind, as a design team. Let's save some money there. Let's move forward. Make a mistake. And you open the door to this like cycle. And it's like, if you just own your mistake and say, hey, I should have expected this instead of that, we could have been down the road because we were ready to switch. We already had it proposed. We were like, what about this? So,
Yep. Well, I won't leave you hanging. I'll share mine, which I'm going to have to shoot myself in the foot on this one. And I've already talked about this on another podcast. As a younger PM, I was working a historical project downtown. We were adding a second floor to a historic building in a design district. So, and at least for the industry folks, as soon as you say design district, it's like, you better build it exactly what the plans say, or you're going to have real major issues. So the intent of this was there's a brick building, and we're essentially floating a structural steel above it and then making that a structural deck and going up and adding a modern second floor to this existing building in Bricktown. There was a conflict between the architectural and the structurals as far as steel heights. I think the same kind of thing. We went through, we lasered the building, we measured the building, measured it again. Look, I don't know how many trips that we took to measure that thing. And that process, I think it was probably 3 weeks going between structural and architectural and making sure everything was correct. And at the end of it, I was like, guys, I've got to get steel coming. I feel confident in these measurements. Is everybody okay? Does everybody feel a level of confidence with these measurements for the detail to come out perfect? Because the way it was designed was there should only be a mortar joint between the king brick, the existing king brick that is stood up on its end with the parapet, and the steel. I had a massive I-beam that was supposed to essentially just levitate right above that top of existing building. When I tell you that I missed that measurement by 13 inches, and I couldn't see it. It was one of those things that you just couldn't tell, and you set the I-beam, and then all of a sudden I've got this gap above the top of the parapet brick, and steel's already set. I've got a massive crane on site. Steel's here. All the columns are in the ground and concreted in, embedded in. There was no changing it after that. I had enough space to fit a king brick vertically in that gap and still have space left over. So, and I don't think that was probably anybody's fault except my own. But, going back to that RFI process, ultimately, some things you just can't sort out. You can talk about it, you can plan, you can anticipate. And at the end of the day, everybody's wrong. But good Lord, make sure that your
I think
PM
that's
takes
the
good measurements.
takeaway.